Hello everyone and welcome to Adobe Photoshop 2025. In today's lesson, which is lesson number 18, we're going to be talking about the layer menu. So let's head over to Photoshop and do a quick overview of the layer menu. So I'm inside of Photoshop. I'm going to go over to the layer menu and we're going to talk about each one of these options in an overview summary type of way. We're not going to do a deep dive into this because when we start building projects, then we'll really dive into it and you'll really understand all the things that I'm talking about. This is kind of the surface level information. And as we get deeper into it, then we'll explain more and more and more. As you get more comfortable and get more excited to do projects, we'll do a deeper dive. So here we go. We have new. So you can create a new layer, layer from background, group from layers, artboard, artboard from group, artboard from layers, frame from layers, convert to frame, layer via copy, layer via cut. Okay, so for me personally, I hardly ever use the layer menu. They have most of these options, okay, inside the layers panel. So when I click here, you'll notice most of that stuff is here. Most, not everything, but most of it is here, okay? The reason why I use the panel instead of here is it's just easier to use. You click right here and you can do whatever you need to do, okay? Plus, then I can see what it's doing. It feels a little disconnected here, so I prefer to do it in the layers panel, but you can do it in either place. And this is why keyboard shortcuts are important too, because if you understand the keyboard shortcuts and how to use it, then you can easily do what you need to do in the project. So it's very excellent. It's very excellent and very easy to use. Okay? So there you go. All right. So let's talk about the layer menu. So we have all the new options there. We can copy CSS. So if you have CSS, we can copy that here. That's for web development. SVG, same thing. SVG is it's a web development term. I forget what the abbreviation is. It's a vector graphic. I don't remember what the first letter is, but I remember the second two. And basically what it is this. I'll give you a quick history lesson on this. So CSS is Cascade Style Sheets, okay? And that's basically the look of a web page. So when you look at any website, the way that it looks, kind of like how the Photoshop application looks, that is basically the interface or the skin of the canvas of the application itself. The way that it looks, the color, the icons, all this stuff here, like the way it's laid out, that's CSS, okay? And SVG is similar to that, but it's the graphic. So when you create a photo or an image, and you add that to your web page, they use SVG because it's a smaller, more compressed file format. And before, it wasn't always that way. They would use Legacy, which we talked about in the file menu video, where we were doing export. Remember how it said save for web? Well, this is a very web-centric option. So PNG is a web format, okay, because it's a more compressed version of a photo, right? So the format is smaller. That's the same thing with SVG, okay? So both of these are web related. So you can copy, so if you have an SVG file, you can copy that. If you have CSS, you can copy that. We can duplicate a layer, okay? I can delete a layer. I can hide a layer. But again, I prefer to use this, okay, rather than the menu. And I also prefer to select the layer and then just hit the trash can. And you can also hit delete. So you don't even have to do that. You can just, so again, we're going to talk about keyboard shortcuts later, but I want to show you how to effectively use Photoshop with a variety of resources and ways to do it to make your life easier when you're building projects, okay? Because you don't want to be up here clicking on stuff. You want to be doing bing, bing, bing. You want to be doing stuff quick. Okay, so quick export is PNG. Now you remember, if in the file menu, they have the same option. Same with export as. So they have it in both areas. And this goes back to what I was talking about in the edit menu with the menus. And later in the course, we're going to do an advanced video where we're talking about menus and how to customize the menus so that it's easier to use Photoshop. Okay. So that'll be a lot of fun. Okay. So let's go back to layer and talk more about this. So quick export. Okay. We talked about that. Rename layer. Again, I wouldn't use this. I would just go here and double click on the layer and then rename it. Okay. You can do it here. It does the same thing, but layer style. So we have, blending options, bevel and emboss, stroke, inner shadow, inner glow, satin, color overlay, gradient overlay, pattern overlay, outer glow, drop shadow. Okay. And then all these. Okay. Now I just have a white box, so I'm not going to use that for those, but we can grab the text and we can add those effects here. Okay. So this little drop down menu is the same thing as this. Okay. So layer style. Okay. And this is, so the layer style, I believe, is right here. Let me make sure I'm on the right menu. I'm going to hover over it just to make sure. Let's see. Nope, that's not the right one. It's going to be effects. Okay. So that's the layer style. So like if I click right here, we can basically do the same thing. We can do bevel and emboss, and you'll see how it changes a little bit. Okay. And if I just turn on everything, you can see how quickly it changes. Okay. And I'll hit okay. And that just to show you all the things you can do just by using the layer styles. Okay. New fill layer. So we can do a solid color, gradient, and pattern. Adjustment layer. We can do all these. Okay, so I can add that there, and then we can also edit it here. Okay, so we can do hue and saturation, and I'm going to delete both of these. But basically, we're going to use that during a project. So we'll do a deeper dive into that then. Layer mask, same thing. We're not going to even touch that right now. I want to talk about that in depth on a project. Vector mask, same thing. Create clipping mask and mask all objects. All these are project related, and so we'll do a deep dive into it then. Smart objects, same thing. Video layers and rasterize, all these are for projects. Okay, so you can convert to smart objects and do a bunch of other things, but we'll prioritize the project for smart objects, for video layers and rasterize. Okay, so I'll do a deep dive into those. New layer based slice. This goes back to web. Okay, and this is what I learned when I was a young man. Most people don't know what slices are. That's why I'm laughing, because it's a very old school type of way to do things on the web. Okay, because when I was learning, it was like Web 1.0 basically. Now it's Web 2.0. They got FVG. I can't even talk. SVG. Okay, and there's not there. You can still do slices, but it's really not as prevalent as it used to be. Group layers, that's just a folder. So if I click here, I can do the same thing. Ungroup layers, hide layers, just do the eyeball. You don't have to do all that. Again, this menu is fine, but a lot of it is here. So arrange, you can bring a layer to the front, bring forward, send backwards, send to the back, or reverse. Okay, we can align, distribute, lock layers. Again, I can do that here. I just click on the little padlock and the layer's locked. So again, there's not a lot on top of that. We have merge down, merge visible, flatten image. We'll talk about these more when we do projects. And that could be any type of project. When you want to merge stuff together, merge visible, flatten image, all that stuff. So that's the layer menu. All right. So thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks for watching Photoshop 2025 here on YouTube with Techemy. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and check out the latest videos right down here below for Photoshop 2025. Keep on learning, practicing, and improving.